almost every time that I stream, someone will invariably see my build, see what I'm using, and they will say, isn't that bad, or doesn't that suck, or isn't, you're using X, isn't Y better? And for the most part, the answer to that question is always yeah. But the thing about it is, I'm not doing what I'm doing for what's good or what's better. I'm doing what I'm doing, man, because it's just fun. It's just fun for me. So does this mean that like you lose more invasions than you would if you just used better stuff? Absolutely, it does mean that, yes. But that's just a thing that you have to determine how much it matters for you. People are all the time like, oh, you should post your losses in your videos. And sometimes people are like, oh, these YouTubers only post the times when they win. And it's like, well, yes, of course, that's what we do. You act like it would be surprising for you to see how other people lose. We lose the same way that you lose. The same way everyone loses. It's not particularly an interesting sight. It's just an absolute numbers game that you are unable to turn in your direction because of, poor planning, a dead level, or just running into a random tree or rock or whatever. Like it's all. It looks the same when everybody loses 3v1. It will never look different. And as the Phantom there, he did a little point down gesture, I think. And if he didn't, then like you'll see it at some point. The 3 versus 1 with the point down, and this ties in together. A lot of people get upset when they lose invasions in Elden Ring. And this also happened in Dark Souls 3. And it also happened in Dark Souls 2. And it also happened in Bloodborne. Basically, when the netcode gets better and these people start having phantoms more consistently, people get mad because they get ganked. And then the gankers will do a gesture, like a rude gesture, over your corpse. And people are like, oh, those gankers. If only I had them 1v1, they would not be able to do gestures at me. And that's probably true. This ties back into the original thing of doing stuff that I think looks cool and is fun over things that are better. Numbers-wise, stats-wise, etc. And it doesn't matter. I'm trying not to be rude. It doesn't matter what co-opers think. The gesture that a co-opper does means absolutely nothing to me. Now, I'm not saying that that's always been the case. One of the very first videos that I ever made on YouTube that got popular was me chasing down some co-opers in Dark Souls 3 who used the point down gesture at me. And I'm going to give you a little peek behind the curtain. I'm going to break kayfabe here. That audio, that commentary is all post, it's all post commentary. None of that happened in the moment. It's just edited to look like that because that's funny. That's how you write something funny, right? It's like the Blair Witch Project, except stupid. Anyway, that was one of the first videos that I ever had get popular, by my standards on YouTube, all those years ago. But as the more I play the game, and the better I get at it, the less it started to matter what co-opers thought about me. Some of you probably won't understand this, but I know Americans will understand this, and I especially know that Americans who grew up in the South will understand this. You know that trailer that they keep behind the high school? There's a reason, like, astrophysicists don't give lectures there. Okay? Sometimes what people think just doesn't matter. And that is the case with the co-opers, you know? They couldn't appreciate what I'm doing, you know, regardless. Whether I win or lose is irrelevant. Like, even if I hit them with, like, the dopest combo of all time, at this point, it wouldn't be anything that they understood, you know? And that's okay, right? I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for me. So, like, in the same, and for the people here, you know, the people who watch and can't appreciate it, you know, for those people, that's who this is for, right? This video is basically just urging you. Like, if you watch my videos, you should not feel compelled to give a shit at all about, you know, if you're running some weird build that just does cool combos or whatever, or, you know, has some insane gimmick that takes forever to pull off and requires, like, you know, it's basically like a mousetrap build where, like, you have to play the build absolutely perfect and set up 100 things in order for the one domino to fall, right? If you're playing like that, you should not care what co-opers, solo hosts, etc., etc. You shouldn't care what gestures they do on the occasions where they beat you. It like, there is no grander insight to be gained, you know, from a loss, no matter whose loss it is. You know, all losses in Elden Ring and Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne and all this stuff, the games where the host has the co-op advantage, all of those losses are essentially the same. You're outnumbered and you make a mistake regarding, you know, your spacing or a rock or a tree or, you know, whatever. And like, that's it. You just get outnumbered. And I mean that, like, outnumbered. Like, both of the ways that can be meant, I mean it. They have more numbers than you, and they have, like, more people than you. They have more stats, they have more healing, they have more everything. So, like, yeah, you should, you know, when you lose an invasion, you should absolutely say to yourself, like, hey, what could I do that would, you know, is there a mistake that I made there that I can learn from? You should absolutely do that. But, like, that combo that you just saw right there, go ahead, rewind the video. I'll let you. I'll sit here and I'll wait. Okay, I'm going to assume you're back now. Like, that combo. Like, the guy, he has no idea what just happened to him. You know what I mean? Like, there's completely clueless. So, like, it's wasted. Now, let's say that they had beat me. The guy would have, like, teabagged or, you know, pointed down or whatever. Like, who cares, you know? Like, I have... He has been reduced to content. You know? Smithereens, right? When it works, it's the coolest thing you've ever seen in the world. And that's what matters. That's what counts. Don't get too in your head about your own losses when you're trying weird stuff in this game. And I would urge you to try weird stuff in this game. Stuff that you think is cool. Because it's fun. And, like, there's a balancing act where there is winning and then there is doing the thing that you wanted to do. And it's up to you to decide which way that scale goes, right? And for me personally, winning weighs less than doing the thing I wanted to do. And it weighs less by enough that I will continue to do this over and over again. And I'm not saying that, like, you know, I'm like some Zen Buddhist power genius who wants nothing, you know. It's like occasionally, if I invade the same gankers over and over again, they will like eventually flip that switch in my head where it's like, these guys think they're good and I can't allow that. But for the most part, you know, none of these people could appreciate what I am trying to do, right? And that's, let me be absolutely, that's okay, that's fine, right? They're just trying to, like, for the most part, play through the game, you know? Like, I'm not, it's not their job to give a shit. And it's not wrong for them to feel good about vanquishing the invader, you know? Like, that's legit. That's a perfectly legit response to vanquishing the invader, is feeling good about it. So, yeah, I don't begrudge these people or whatever, but at the same time, I just don't think very highly of their opinion, and I don't think anyone else should either. People complain a lot about, you know, gankers and what have you, and invasions in general in Elden Ring, and again in Dark Souls 3 and in Bloodborne, and basically any game where the internet works pretty good. That they get ganked and they feel like, well, that's not fair. Like, I'm a better player than them, so I should win. And that's what the arena's for. That's what dueling is for. You know, invasions are for, you know, an experience you're not going to get in any other game ever. And that is, you know, showing up uninvited to someone else's playthrough and trying to halt their progress for just a minute. As a response to them having summoned, you know, help for the area. It rules, and it's its own thing, and yeah, balance plays no real part in this equation at all, and it shouldn't, right? Like, things, you know, people will get mad at me when I say that because they think I mean that, like, the game shouldn't be balanced at all. That's not what I mean. What I mean is there shouldn't be, like, this this call for invasions to be perfectly balanced, like some sort of, you know, real multiplayer game, you know, a game like Tekken or Street Fighter or something, some game where it actually matters, right? There's rank ups and, you know, there's things like that. Invasions don't call for a game to be balanced in that way. That's not to say that the game shouldn't be balanced, but the attempt made to balance invasions should never outrank the attempt to balance the game in general, right? And that's what I'm saying. That's my only, you know, whatever. My point being, there's a difference between balancing the game and balancing the game for invasions. And there's no need to balance the game for invasions because this game is not an invasion game. It's a 100-hour-long, mostly single solitary RPG type action game or whatever, you know. It's not necessary to have a perfectly balanced multiplayer for a game like that. Just like I wouldn't expect Street Fighter or Tekken to come out with a perfectly balanced, you know, expertly crafted 100-hour-long single-player campaign, you know? I just wouldn't expect that, right? And so, since it's not balanced, and since it shouldn't be balanced, if you are like me and you are just doing weird stuff because you think it's cool and fun or whatever, yeah, you're going to lose. And that's okay. And, you know, take a lesson from your loss if you can. Absolutely. But you should not put any stock into what co-opers thought about your performance at all. They're not, you know, they're not getting physics lessons in the hot trailer behind the school. I'll see you guys next time. Later, y'all.